Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olsen, the Tolkien Professor, and I am joined, as always, by my friend... Wait. So here we are in Fangorn. Where's Gryfflet? Oh, there he is! He was just cavalierly taking a nap on the bedroll of the missing Rohirrim guy. I guess he got a little sleepy here, waiting. Boy, the woods are thick here in Fangorn. Okay, anyway, Gryfflet, let's get back to work here. Okay. It is the spare bedroll, yeah. Not the one in the tent, of course, yeah. But we have to continue the mystery of the missing guy. And also probably not get killed by vicious Fangorn Huorns, who are right behind me. Yikes. Huh. He seems to not be aggressive. That's kind of fun. Really interesting how his... I guess that's meant to be like a tooth, right? Yeah. I thought it looked like a beak. Like he's got a beak there. Yeah, he's a very unpleasant face inside of the tree there. Okay. Yeah, JJ says I should protect it. That'll learn him. Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, why does he have a spare bedroll? That's a separate mystery. And I have not been briefed. There's no Ent has briefed me to solve that mystery. So, you know, that it's kind of some things, you know, like are the private business of lost Rohirrim gentlemen in the woods, you know? Okay, there's an empty food sack. Not a crumb in sight. It is clear that the injured man has not had access to any food for quite a while. He may have scrounged for food nearby before abandoning his dangerous little encampment. You should see if there's anything edible looking nearby. Okay, so I already was looking for poison, and then whether the berries were poisoned by the very scientific process of examining bat poop, as I recall, was the glamorous quest with which Gryfflet finished his day last week. So now we're looking to see... The berries look suspiciously inedible, but it's been picked, huh? I have to search 8 of them just to be on the safe side. Okay, nothing's aggressive here. That's kind of nice. Well, Gryfflet is level 84 now. Hard to blame them for being a little intimidated. Okay, same true here. More bushes. Okay. Yeah, it's like I already did this. Or rather, it's like I was supposed to do this quest before I did the other one, which would have made the other one make more sense too. So really, I think everything would have been better had I investigated the food sack before I investigated the bedroll. What's going on here? Now I'm still in general berry bush domain. Still have to find 5 more berry bushes, just in case. I mean, I already found 3 bushes of poison berries that he's already eaten. That's probably enough to do for him. Okay. Yeah. No problem. Yeah, Gryfflet is, he's solving this mystery in a very Alice through the looking glass fashion is all. What? Interrupted by the attacks of all of a sudden these bats have just had enough, right? We were getting along splendidly. I mean, other than when I killed a bunch of them and examined their poop forcibly last week, which was awkward, but, you know, I would think we could have gotten past that by now and all agreed to let bygones be bygones, but Now all of a sudden, like these bats over here are just like, we've had it. Forget about it, man. You've examined one too many berry bushes for us. Okay, alright. Let's hope the Huorns don't start getting impatient as well. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's another bat who's just had as much as he can take. I understand, bat. I've been there. I have. I feel you. Okay. Alright, now I go back to the Ent and ask him for... Oh, look, I got back to my original Huorn friend there in the camp. Okay, so... right, this way. Other direction. Heading back. Okay. Alright, heading back through... I really like Fangorn here. Of course, one of the things that is really nice about Fangorn compared to the Old Forest, of course, I can't help but compare it to the Old Forest. And obviously, this is an unfair comparison, right? Because, you know, I mean, you think about where those two were comparatively in the process of game development, right? How many years of game development apart they were. It's obviously not a fair comparison. But the Old Forest, of course, is all very routed, right? I mean, it's like the whole, you can't go through most of the places. Whoa, hi. Okay, your big friend over here is in my personal space. Bylaws. I have to say, this is one thing that I mean, I kind of get it, but it's a little bit odd to me that the Ents are so much smaller than the Huorns. Why should they be? I mean, look at this. This dude is like a third the size of that Huorn. But anyway, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. The Huorn needs to practice social distancing. Actually, Gryfflet has a long history of practicing social distancing with as many mobs as possible. All right. I explained to Bylas that I've examined berry bushes, I sure have, and many have been picked over, but it is unlikely that these berries are edible. If these had been eaten by the injured man, his situation may be more dire than what the Ent first beheld. So he's not only wounded, he's also now got a very bad tummy ache. So what do you think, Mr. Ent? You anxiously implore Bylas to wake up and help you track the lost man, but he stubbornly remains silent. Okay, wake him up as Gandalf bade me. Okay. Alright. Please wake up. Okay. He gives me a bemused stare. Okay, okay, hey, wake up! Wah! Okay, I'm gonna be angry at you in the presence of your... Okay. I will have to find and save the injured man alone. He has dug his roots too deep. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna leave you to the very close company of your large friend here. Yeah, okay, I think Gryfflet hasn't necessarily tried everything, but, okay. So, I just find him. Well, I guess Bylas has helped me indirectly by supplying me a quest arrow that points me in the direction that he is, so that's handy. Alright. Okay, so... Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be with you guys today. Can't even remember anymore whether I was supposed to not be here originally today. I think I was supposed to be here. Oh, look, it's the camp again. Okay. So going past the camp. We got no game sounds? Oh, hang on. Let me see if I can fix that. My apologies. Thought I had fixed that. Oh, yeah. No, I didn't fix that at all. Okay. Now we should get some game sounds, I think. I mean, when there are game sounds to get. There we go. Getting that? Alright. Sorry. Apologize for that. Thought I had done that. Forgot to do that. Trailing beards of lichen. I like it. Just like in the text. Sorry, my view here was obstructed by a trailing beard of lichen. Untidy. Reminding Pippin of the old room at Tuckborough. And I have to say, it's really delightful when you get to these places and remember passages like that, like when Pippin was comparing Fangorn to the old room, the old Took's old room. Within the game, of course, I remember the old Took's old room, right? We sort of were there in Great Smiles, which, of course, we never see in the books. Okay, Gryfflet, you're doing a great job social distancing from these mobs so far. And oh, hang on. I see a quest ring. Boy, talk about not being able to find this guy. I would not have found him in 1,000 years without the quest arrow and the quest ring. Is he actually there? Hello? Is there under the ferns? There he is. I can see a foot and a hand. Someone found me? Impossible. I'm cursed. Oh, hang on a second. Let me do the thing again. Which doesn't stick. I have to redo that all the time. Anyway, okay. Dying. You must be my death. Really? This is what you imagined your death looked like? Have you come to take me away and turn me into a tortured shade? Would you like that? Trying to figure out how to help. That's not what I had in mind. But, Leofmar, can I can't see you at all. Okay. A curse for a coward. I am cursed for my cowardice. Oh dear. Do you see how the very trees encircle me, judging my wrongs? The trees are hungry. Well, can't rule that out, actually. Save yourself, stranger, and let them devour me. My arrows are spent, and soon they will approach again. You try to shoot the trees with arrows? That has a known poor track record. But how are you a coward? The only thing keeping those trees at bay is the fear of my bow. You think? Oh, okay. All right. We have different opinions of their views on your bow. I loosed every arrow at them, but now my quiver is empty. They press nearer and nearer. I think they begin to suspect that I am defenseless. Soon they will be upon me. There is no hope left. Retrieve his arrows from vicious Fangorn Huorns. Out of whose trunks they are doubtless jutting totally harmlessly. Okay. All right. All right, well, we got plenty of Huorns around here. And some medicinal herbs. Oh, that looks handy, too. Okay. Let's see. What do we got? Leofmar will not survive for much longer without an antidote to the poison he ingested. Okay. So let's pick leaves off a nearby random bush and trust that those are the antidote. Life tips. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Let's do this, of course, this kind of quest is perfect for a lore question. So I'm going to go get a lore question, and then we're going to talk about it while I combat Huorns, pick herbs, and retrieve arrows. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. JJ had asked, why does Gondor need a full army when single adventurers can take out entire orc camps single-handedly? It seems like a couple dozen of them could take the entire army of Mordor. I've always thought that was a plot hole myself. I think that had Tolkien really unleashed the capabilities of solitary hobbit burglars, the whole story could have gone very differently, and clearly the Witch King would soon have felt outnumbered himself. But, you know, what can I say? You know, you can't think of everything, right? Okay, Eleanor. Great. Eleanor was asking, why did Círdan give Gandalf the ring and not Saruman? Let's talk about that. Okay, why did Círdan give Gandalf the ring and not Saruman? Insight is the short answer. So Círdan meets them when they come. They arrive in a ship. This itself is kind of news. I say kind of news, by which I mean enormous news, actually, because it was the first shipload of folks to arrive from the West in millennia, okay? Arguably, let's see. I'm trying to think of when the last shipload of people, prior to the ship that brought the Astari, when was the last shipload of people that arrived out of the West? I mean, I guess Númenóreans, right? So, like, Elendil would probably have been the last boat full of people to arrive out of the West in Middle-earth. Not that he arrived at the Grey Havens, but I gotta think he was the last. And before him, like, other than Númenóreans, and the last shipload of non-Númenóreans, I don't know, whoever was the last boat full of elves to fight in the War of Wrath, I guess. Anyway, the point is, this is not exactly, a daily event, right? So imagine you're Círdan the shipwright, and you've been at your job a long time. Really quite a long time, right? Watching the coast, helping elves to sail into the West, and one day a ship comes out of the West, which hasn't happened for 1,000 years, and there's a bunch of guys on it who you have a sinking suspicion are not human and not elves. You've never seen anything like this before. It's not just that you've never seen these guys before. You have never seen anything like these guys. Like, these guys are a thing you have never seen before. Like, you're Círdan the shipwright. You have been at your post there. You've been, at these harbors, or harbors very similar unto them, for a long time, right? Dozens of millennia, right? And you are seeing not just an extremely unusual ship full of people arriving, but you are seeing a ship full of creatures the like of which you have never seen. You don't even know exactly what they are. This is a crazy day in the very long life of Círdan the shipwright. So, this is a big day. And, by the way, yeah, exactly. I was, okay. There was actually, there's no super authoritative answer to the question, was Glorfindel on the boat with them? That was one of Tolkien's theories. Remember, Tolkien, not Glorfindel, only decided definitively that the Glorfindel of Rivendell, like the Glorfindel in the Fellowship of the Rings, was the Glorfindel of Gondolin, same dude. He only definitively decided that in last years before his death. He didn't have this was not a long-standing idea. And he one of the theories was that Glorfindel came over in the boat with the Astari. So it's not the only idea that he had about that, but it was definitely one of his ideas. So anyway, it is possible that Glorfindel is accompanying them, and so the conversation might have started with Círdan saying something like, Glorfindel, long time no see. Anyway, okay. So, anyway, back to Círdan's eventful day. Círdan has had this ring of power, right? He was given this ring of power, if I'm recalling correctly, Celebrimbor gave him his ring of power. I think, if I'm recalling rightly, he was one of the original wielders of the rings, right? Wasn't it Celebrimbor, Gil-galad, and Círdan? No, Galadriel had it from the beginning. Where did Círdan get his? Oh man, why am I forgetting this? So, let me see if I can figure this out. Celebrimbor kept the one, gave the second one to Galadriel. So Galadriel had Nenya from the beginning. And then so it must be Gil-galad's ring, right? The Ring of Fire. So he, Celebrimbor, keeps the Ring of Air for himself, gives the Ring of Water to Galadriel, and the Ring of Fire to Gil-galad. That makes most sense. And then after the death of Gil-galad, and then when Celebrimbor dies... Wait. Yeah, hang on a second, JJ. Maybe you're right. I think that Elrond did get... So, the Ring of Fire must have been Celebrimbor's. Yeah. Must have been Celebrimbor. So when Celebrimbor dies, Gil-galad and Galadriel are like, okay, who gets the Ring of Fire now that Celebrimbor's dead? And they say, oh, let's give it to Círdan the Shipwright, because, like, talk about, like, your safe holders of things. Let's give it to the guy with the longest attention span in Middle-earth, right? That seems like actually a really good plan. So they give it to, and then Gil-galad keeps the Ring of Air, and then that's the one that passes to Elrond after the death of Gil-galad, because, of course, he's right there, right? Isn't that right? I think that's right. I'm forgetting. Okay, these kinds of details. One of the issues that I keep having with my detailed recall of lore elements like this is, as many of you know, I've been doing a study of the History of Middle-earth series on Mythgard Academy. So we've been reading through the entire history of Middle-earth by Christopher Tolkien and discussing those chapter by chapter, and we've been doing this for several years now, which has been awesome. It's been an immensely rewarding experience for me to go through it with everybody. It has, like, compelled me to go through the history of Middle-earth in, like, much more... I've never done this kind of a consistent study. I mean, who reads the history of Middle-earth cover to cover, like, volume by volume, right? It's just... They're not really designed for that. But we're doing it, and it's been awesome to do it. But one of the consequences that I keep getting confused, like alternate versions and different things, I keep... So, yeah, it's played havoc with my memory as to, like, what is authoritative and what isn't. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Celebrimbor was killed by Sauron. That is correct. That is correct. So, Bill Stickers, are you asking why didn't Sauron then get Celebrimbor's ring? Well, because Celebrimbor didn't have it on him when he died. Celebrimbor, remember, he wasn't ambushed or something like that. It wasn't like an Isildur situation. He was besieged and ultimately taken. So he had plenty of time to prepare for his eventual defeat, and did so. But Let's see. Okay. All right. See. All right. Okay. So, JJ, this is very indirect, but it sounds plausible that Vilya and Narya, the rings of air and fire, of course, were given together to Gil-galad. So when Celebrimbor knew that he was going to get assaulted, he gives both of the rings to Gil-galad in order to keep them from falling into Sauron's hands. So that's how Gil-galad and Círdan each end up with one. So in that sense, Círdan was the original holder of Narya. Okay, I can buy that. I can buy that. Right. So, Unfinished Tales has Galadriel counseling Celebrimbor to ditch the rings before Sauron gets them. That certainly sounds like Unfinished Tales. Two things that Unfinished Tales... Tolkien in the Unfinished Tales period, that is, in the years immediately after publishing The Lord of the Rings, was very keen to do, was sort of explain and raise the profile of both Gandalf and Galadriel. There's a lot of that in Unfinished Tales. You running away from me? All right. As much as you can take, Mr. Tree. Okay. Oh man, Phil. Was he bigging up Galadriel? Good grief. So much in Unfinished Tales. It is, yeah. Remember that Galadriel was invented during the writing of The Lord of the Rings. Like, she was not part of his original mythology. She emerged when the companions leave Moria the first time. Hey, got all the arrows, and only need 2 more Huorns. Exciting. When the companions left Moria and he decided that their next adventure was going to be a visit to the Elf Wood. So the whole scene at the Flet, where the orcs are pursuing them and they sleep on the Flet overnight with the elves, and the elves, sort of hide them, and the orcs pass by underneath, and Gollum almost finds them, like the whole Haldir situation. That was the adventure. Like, that was the thing he had thought of in advance, right? And then he was like, they should be taken into Faerie, right, to meet the elves. And did I just unstealth myself? That was cunning. And then he was like, there should be an elf queen, right? And then he takes them to meet the elf queen, and it turns out she's Galadriel, right? And so as soon as think of Gimli's reaction to meeting Galadriel, right? And the way that he comes in and is suddenly completely smitten and overcome by Galadriel. That's Tolkien. Basically, Tolkien had the same reaction to Galadriel. So after he finished writing The Lord of the Rings, he immediately got into the business of saying, I gotta backfit Galadriel into the mythology, clearly, because she is, all of a sudden, she's this really significant figure, and she's not mentioned in any of the Silmarillion stuff. But also he kind of needed to work through and revise some of the other history that he had worked out in order to explain. And that was growing all the time during the writing of The Lord of the Rings. He was still trying to figure out what the 3 rings of power were about when he like how they worked and everything. Whether they were made by Sauron, that was still kind of an open question for him when he was writing like into the Two Towers, essentially. But anyway, so anyhow, right, so Galadriel tells Celebrimbor to ditch it. Glad we sorted this out and that I'm refreshing my memory about these things. Okay, so Círdan is the first wielder after Celebrimbor, its maker, of the Ring of Fire. So he's had this ring now for some time, right? Couple millennia. Really just like a long weekend in the life, long, patient life of Círdan the Shipwright. But then this shipload of folks comes up and he decides, and he has lots of data, to draw on in order to draw this conclusion. He decides this is an unusual day. I should really pay attention to what's happening here. And these people that have arrived, this is a big deal. So he decides he's going to give his ring to one of them, but he meets them and he sees Círdan. Or he is Círdan. He sees Gandalf and he sees Saruman, right? Those two are clearly the most powerful of the five. He immediately diagnoses the situation, right? That Saruman is that he has foresight, essentially. He sees Gandalf and is like, this is the dude. Like, this guy needs this. I don't know who or necessarily what this dude is. I don't know what's going to happen, but I need to hand off my ring. Like, he sees it, right? He gives it. So, I mean, it's just like there's no justification for it in a sense. Like, there's no excuse for it. It's a radical thing that he does. And why does he choose Gandalf over Saruman? Because he has insight. Here's the shocking thing. The shocking thing, in some ways, why Círdan chose Gandalf and not Saruman is not the big mystery. The big mystery is, why did anybody choose Saruman? Like, why was Saruman made the head of the council? Because he was made the head of the council, so Galadriel says that she voted for Gandalf, right? Okay, yeah, so Phil, the business about Gandalf arriving on his own in the last boat, that was an Unfinished Tales edition. That's in the, like, I'm making Gandalf extra and special thing, right? So yeah, and I know there were separate boats and stuff. I'm compressing into one day for the sake of my little theoretical narrative. But anyway, the fact that, like, everybody else, chooses Saruman apparently to lead, and the council doesn't have so many people in it, right? So Elrond, presumably, chose Saruman over Gandalf as well, as the leader of the council. I mean, it's interesting. And it's one of the things that I think, I have to say, especially in the Unfinished Tales period, I think that Tolkien did and I don't usually say this, a surprisingly bad job of. The thing that Tolkien did a surprisingly bad job of during the Unfinished Tales period is maintaining the integrity of Saruman's backstory. That is, the whole story of the betrayal of Saruman in the Fellowship of the Ring is premised upon the fact that everybody trusted him, right? That he was, that his betrayal was a huge, huge deal. That came out of the blue for everybody. But when Tolkien went back during the Unfinished Tales period, again, right after the publication of The Lord of the Rings, and was kind of filling out and revising and expanding a bunch of these stories and filling in backstories and making connections and things, he tended to backfill it as if, especially Gandalf, had been suspecting Saruman for years, right? Even as if he were specifically suspecting him of desiring the One Ring for himself. And I do not think that Gandalf's visit to Saruman in Isengard in the Fellowship of the Ring is a plot hole. I think it's very explicable, and it makes, if you think it through, it makes perfect sense for him to do under the circumstances, but not if he already suspects Saruman of desiring the Ring of Power for his own. Again, it only makes sense if Gandalf actually, genuinely trusts Saruman, right? So I'm thinking, for those of you who know the Unfinished Tales stuff, I think it's in the Hunt for the Ring section. I don't think it's in the essay on the Astari, though maybe it is, but I think it's in the Hunt for the Ring section, but maybe I'm wrong. No, actually probably is in the essay for the Astari. The scene where Gandalf is blowing smoke rings suggestively at Saruman, implying that he knows what is motivating Saruman's desire to delay, driving Sauron out of Mirkwood. It just, to me, that doesn't work at all in the picture, or rather, it undermines the narrative of the Fellowship of the Ring. Anyway, so it's one of my least favorite. I love the passage, actually, like in a vacuum, but in the larger context, I can't. I have a hard time making it really work with everything else, or rather, it makes other things not work if you do it. But here I am letting poor Leofmar suffer when I now have the power to make him, well, to bring him some relief anyway. So let me return his arrows. Yeah, there you go. Got him back for you. They will only postpone your death by a short while, but what if I tell you I also defeated all the trees you were helplessly shooting at? They will be back? Well, that's true. You're right. I didn't think you would know that they would respawn, but okay. Sorry, I was trying to play along with you, Leofmar. A curse does not throw up its hands and abandon its purpose because of a minor setback. Death will take me, and I will be a tortured shade haunted by my crimes. Okay, how about we help your little death problem? Oh dear, my random herbs didn't help. It is the curse. I cannot stop your fate. Man. Leofmar says no more. The poisonous berries seem to be taking their toll. I've tried everything I can think of, but there's naught to do but stay with this poor man while he dies. Wait a second. Hooray! Oh, he's stretching. Yeah, I bet that feels good to stand up, Bailas. Hey there. Good to see you up and about. It is in the Hunt for the Ring. I thought so. Okay, it is Bailas! The Ent has roused himself and is here at the dying man's side after all. And just in time, for in the long twig-like fingers of his hand is a small sprig of fresh-picked king's foil. This herb will save Leofmar's life. You cannot help but marvel at the Ent's kindly curiosity towards the once doomed Rohirrim man. Hooray! He bears a gift of king's foil. That's wonderful. I feel better already. What is that tree behind you? Is it a tree? It has eyes. Why does it regard me so? It's your friend. Let me introduce you. Leofmar, this is Bailas, the now awakened Ent. You give Bailas a heartfelt verbal thanks for this miraculous gesture of kindness that saved a man's life. Bailas says nothing and appears to be more asleep than ever. You were so sure that you had done Gandalf's bidding and awakened an Ent, but Bailas does not seem to have found any further reason to be awake now that he has saved the day. He's just taking a nap. I can respect that. No problem. What do you say, Leofmar? You want to stand up so I can actually see you? I will tell you my tale of woe, but I promise that you will wish to undo all of the kindness that you have done for me when you hear of my cowardice. Let me tell you first that I am no soldier. I have never been a brave man. My duties in my home called me to take the city watch for a night, and I did that duty at least, but I am ashamed to speak of what came after. Okay. All right. It's time to We're going to do the Wayback Machine here. Okay.
Leofmar carries a deep guilt with him since his arrival in Fangorn.
Yeah,
one that has led him to believe that he is cursed. He is ready to reveal to you the story behind his regret.
Okay, so Leofmar, first things first. Where are we? Let's see if we can figure this out. Huh. Alright. Have we been here, Leofmar? This just looks like somebody's house that has a watchtower. Ooh, is that a ruin in the distance? I think it is, Leofmar. Can you tell me about that ruin? Does not look like some Enta York over there? Oh! Well, I've never been here before. It's Garsfeld. Really? Okay. Well, no wonder I didn't recognize it. Leofmar describes a watchtower in the settlement of Garsfeld in the Sotcrofts. Okay, and his reluctant post there. Watchtower duty is generally a slow business without much incident, but on this day, the unimaginable happens. Something terrible stirs in the fields below. How? So many. What can we ever do against? Blow the horn. Good job. See, you did your job. What now? Help! What are we seeing? I didn't see them. Oh, we're running. Oh, we're running. Where's oh, here. Where's Leofmar? Excuse me, have you seen Leofmar? I was hearing the story of his impending cowardice and... Oh! His cowardice is not impending anymore. I see. We're hiding. So you hid behind a haystack. Well, the city is under attack. To arms! Well, in Leofmar's defense, he is in fact under arms. He cowers against the side of a building while the town flies into a panic at the prospect of battle. His eyes are wild with the madness of a sudden fear. You are no soldier. I get it, man. Look at that. Oh, we're running. Okay. You notice that the old lady shoveling dung is still at it, though? Like, Leofmar, she is really the one that you should be taking an example from. Right? I mean, talk about, carrying on. Right? We're running out of the city. All the way to Fangorn. Because we're kind of a fur piece. Okay. Oh, hang on, there's a horse. Leofmar's escaped from a certain battle. Right. And pauses outside Garsfeld's northwest gate, and his horse follows him. That was keen. Leofmar has finished the tale of how he was afraid when the armies of the Orcs began to march across the field, and how he sounded his horn to alert Garsfeld, then fled in fear of wielding a sword against so many cruel foes. Man, I understand. To you it is not a curse-worthy one. No, he's only a green young man with a farmer's blood in his veins, not a soldier's. He curses himself for running. There's nothing evil laid upon him but his own regret. That is tough, Leofmar. Look, it's a hard situation. I mean, okay. You ran away from the enemy and you left, other people, to suffer and die. I kind of want to say, like Lucy Pevensey might say, that was very bad. But, don't be too hard on yourself. Where there's life, there's hope. You can still redeem yourself. I rode my horse to the edge of the wood, but I would not let him follow me inside. I came here to hide and to die. My poor steed should not meet the fate of a coward. Oh, that was his horse I found earlier. Okay. Come here, Leofmar's horse. Wow, that was prompt. Come on, Leofmar. You can still make your life worth something here. Yeah, I found him. No problem. I had not even hoped that he was near the foolish beast. You tell Leofmar that the small boating camp where he will likely be welcomed with his bow and arrows. I will go there now, Gryfflet. Thank you. I am blessed, not cursed, to have so many good folk and creatures looking after me. I will not be afraid anymore. There you go, Leofmar. Okay. All right, so that was Ent number 1. Sleeping Ent number 1. Okay. Oh. All right, so I'm headed over towards the orc camp. There's a second orc camp inside the forest, apparently. Okay, so I was let me get back to Círdan. All right, so Círdan the Shipwright, right? Círdan the Shipwright gives Gandalf his ring because foresight is upon him, and foresight is just a thing. Now, we had talked a little bit about foresight in answer to the question about Frodo. Is Frodo, giving a prescription of what Sam's kids should be named, or is he seeing the future? He explicitly uses the word see. He says, and maybe others that I cannot see yet. Frodo claims that to be an act of foresight. Foresight, of course, is a thing in Tolkien's world. There are many people who are foresighted. Even think about Éomer's comment when he meets Aragorn again in the Battle of Pelennor Field, and says, and Aragorn says to him, "Did I not say, Éomer? So we meet again. Though all the hosts of Mordor lie between us, did I not say so when we parted?" And Éomer's response is, "Indeed you did, but I knew not then that you were a man foresighted." So a man foresighted is the thing, right? Apparently, it's a thing that happens, and some people have it and some people don't. Aragorn's parents and his grandparents had it, right? But here's the thing. I think that foresight seems to be sometimes it seems to be something that's kind of sort of gifted to people specially. But Malbeth the Seer was a man foresighted, I think. That seems fairly clear. There are some people who just seem to have this gift, right? Sometimes there might be a particular foresight that is granted to somebody for a particular reason. But sometimes I think, and here, Ethelod, I'm coming back to that point, about Círdan's divining the greatest spirit in Gandalf. But what does that mean? What does that mean is that he perceives in him, not that he is necessarily the most powerful, but he sees in him, he perceives that there is something about him that is there's some greatness about his spirit, right? He looks at him and he says, this is a guy who's going to make good choices. And he has this insight that this guy, should have the ring, that giving the ring to him will make a difference, as indeed it seems it does, right? But again, that I think is, I would consider that an act of foresight as well. The way that I often characterize this is there are some people who can they sort of have a sense of how the music of the Ainur goes, they sort of can perceive the drift of things. Elrond talks this way, right? Elrond talks this way when he is, when he's saying things to Frodo, if I have heard aright all that has been said, right? If I understand correctly what I'm seeing happening here, if I'm correctly perceiving the flow of events right now, this is what's... I believe that this task was appointed for you, Frodo. That's him. Is that an act of foresight? Not exactly. Not of the same kind as like Aragorn's statement to Éomer or Frodo's statement to Sam about his kids. But to me, it's a similar kind of insight, right? A similar kind of perception, right? Anyway, so that's... Yeah. Didn't Huorn have foresight come... Huor, I think, Phil, you're thinking of, had the foresight come upon him when he saved Turgon. That is Huor's, the prophecy that Huor makes, from you, from me, you and from me a new star shall arise, that one? Yeah. No, that is an insight. It's a very kind of Aragornian sort of statement, right? Piece of foresight there. Anyway, so is it in some ways an act of foresight that that Círdan has about Gandalf? Is it a kind of insight more like what Elrond says to Frodo at the end of the council? I think it's to me it's kind of both, right? That he foresees that great good will come of Gandalf having the ring, and he has insight in saying, like, I am meeting you, and I am seeing your spirit, and I am... Anyway, that all seems to kind of fit together in one sort of piece of Círdan's choice there. Okay, wait. Another Ent sleeps here, surrounded by smoke, fires, and grief. Oh, dear. That can't be good. Let's see. I can't use any of these things, huh? Okay. I guess I'll stick with sturdy Ent gloves. Oh, so this is the first time that I recall my riddle teller's gear is actually being surpassed by drops I'm getting now, huh? That suggests to me it's time for new armor. So I've been wearing this this stuff, this armor of the riddle teller for a while now. But it looks like it's maybe time to upgrade. What level is this stuff? 82, yeah. Yeah, I've surpassed it now. Now, anyway, any advice as to if there's like another cool suit of armor? I mean, I can just kind of pick stuff up, obviously, from quests, but... any advice anyone has about armor, I'd be happy to receive it. I thought that smoke was rising from the Ent's head there, but I think it's not. No, it's rising from the fires that are burning over there. The forest is on fire here, Wisewood. We might want to... Maybe now time to jump in and do something about this. Let's see. This guy you'd think wouldn't be so hard to arouse. One other thing I have to say about Círdan the Shipwright. The Ent is perfectly still, but its eyes are open. You could swear that this one had an angry red gleam in its greenish eyes, or perhaps a flare of panic. It is hard to tell when his outward behavior is so still. You smell smoke here and see the orange glow of fire. It's not hard to guess why this Ent may be angry. Yeah, I know. Well, I'd say... so what do you think? Orcs in Fangorn? Wisewood wants revenge upon the orcs who attacked his grove. As a heroic orc slayer of many lands, how can you refuse such a deed? Totally agree. Wisewood's limbs sleep, and he is too slow and sleepy to assist you, but you can do him a kindness as Gandalf wished. Sure. Yeah. White hand orcs, no problem. Okay, you see rage and grief at the burning of several members of his grove. Orcs start fires, but they do not put them out. You should ensure that all the orc fires have been adequately snuffed out, lest they endanger the remainder of Wisewood's grove. So, kill the orcs and stamp out their fires. We can do this. Oh, hi! Look, we have... I'm going to call you first in line. Can you see perfectly well out of your left eye? Actually, better question, do you open either of your eyes? Oh, yeah, I guess they're open a little bit. Okay. Yeah. Might be easier for you to see if you just open them more widely. Look at me just parrying and evading like a boss. Right, that was kind of awesome there for a while. Your armor is extremely ugly. Didn't Saruman give you decent armor? You must be a real loser. I mean, seriously. Does anyone care about you? Did you make that yourself? So that, like... Wow. I mean, most of the Isengard orcs have been better supplied than this. And what, seriously, like, look at that cleaver you're using in your right hand. What is that, like some kind of blade stapled to a wooden stick? At least you're using a proper knife in your left hand. This is pathetic. Oh, yeah, he got a full set of armor and lost a bunch of pieces? Yeah, I bet he did. All right. Don't worry, Wisewood. I'll take him out. Okay. Okay. Hey, hello in Norway. Paper Seas. I don't know how to say your name. Papar Cisgo? I don't even know. I'm not sure. Okay, anyway, let me say my last Círdan thing, and then I'll do another lore question. A while back, someone had asked a lore question, was Círdan an original elf? Like, did Círdan... We'd talked about that. Did Círdan awaken by Cuiviénen? Or not? And I was a little tentative about this, and said... I see no reason to think that he wasn't, but I was a little non-definitive about. I hedged a bit because I didn't think, and I still don't think, that Tolkien says, unless I'm forgetting completely which is entirely possible, but I don't remember Tolkien saying anywhere explicitly that was true. However, I looked. This past week, I was reading Morgoth's Ring, as I'm rereading Morgoth's Ring because we're doing the class on it. We're doing our Mythgard Academy class on Morgoth's Ring, which is super fun. So there I was reading the Annals of Aman, which Tolkien wrote in the 50s there after he finished writing The Lord of the Rings. Ooh, didn't quite one-shot the guy. And... The Annals of Aman are interesting because they give an overview of... So this is one of the things that Tolkien was doing in this time was, as he was going through the Silmarillion material, was he was not only... man, they're all in pairs. It's so annoying. He was not only going through and kind of revising the Silmarillion material, but one of his ideas at that point was to make not just stories as they have been distributed in the published Silmarillion, but to make actual annals, like with like the Tale of Years, like a fuller version of the Tale of Years. So a version of the First Age material that dates everything, like that dates all of the events. This is very interesting, not because the dates in the First Age necessarily are like themselves super meaningful, but because it tells you spans of time, right? So that you can see, like when he gives you the dates of one event and the date of another event, you can see how long there is between those events, which, in the actual narrative itself, there's really just like no indication. There's no way really of knowing at all how much time passed between many of these events. So here's the thing that I was noticing. In the Annals of Aman, it is only 100 years of the trees, which is equal to a little bit less than 1,000 years of the sun, between the awakening of the elves at Cuivianen and when Círdan the Shipwright is first mentioned, which is, of course, when Círdan the Shipwright remains on the shores of Middle-earth when the rest of the Teleri go over the sea. Let's see. I've only got 3 White Hand Orcs. I thought it said that I had more. That's okay. Anyway, so 1,000 years. Only 1,000. So when Círdan the Shipwright is not only mentioned, but mentioned as like the leader of the elves who remain by the shore, only 1,000 years of the sun, equivalent of 1,000 years of the sun. Sun's not there yet, but the equivalent of 1,000 years of the sun have passed since the elves awoke at all. And that, for Círdan the Shipwright, that's like a blink. What's more, later on there was more definitive evidence in that at the same time that Tolkien wrote that, his idea was that Fëanor, son of Finwë, was the first of the second generation elves. So that basically the thing that he did say explicitly, just a few pages. So first we have the indirect piece of evidence that Círdan the Shipwright is named as the leader of the elves who remain on the shores of Middle-earth only 1,000 years after the elves awaken at all. And like there's just no way that he was born in between and grew up enough to there's just not time for it. Not in Círdan's life, not in the elf time frame. Besides which, again, there's no way he would be the leader of that group, because clearly in 1,000 years they're all still going to be there. That is, the elves that awoken and weren't taken by Sauron, by Morgoth in the woods. Phil, these ideas were in flux at this time, but when the first thing that he wrote about Fëanor, not the first thing he wrote about Fëanor, good grief, the first reference to Fëanor in the Annals of Aman that he wrote in the 50s says that he is the first of all of the children, like the first child to be born in the natural way of the elves, period. The first second generation elf. And was not born in Valinor necessarily. Actually, no, definitely not born in Valinor. In the Annals of Aman, he was born in Middle-earth because his mom, Muriel. Well, first of all, his mom's not even Muriel, but it's confusing. I won't confuse things too much. Too late. But his mom died she fell off a cliff and died of natural causes. Seriously, I'm not making that up. But anyway, the point is, within a couple pages of each other, he says that Círdan was named leader of the Falathrim 1,000 years after the elves awoke, and B, Finwë was the first elf ever to be born, like the first second generation elf at all. So from these 2 points of data, I am willing to conclude firmly, in fact, it seems to me proven, that Círdan definitely awoke by the shores of Cuivianen. There's... none of these orcs are counting? Oh, hang on a second. How infuriating. I have to get those dudes? Oh, okay. And stamp out the fires. And there's a mysterious voice south of the orc camp, huh? I didn't hear a mysterious voice. Must have been talking over the mysterious voice, which is really quite rude. All right, so here I was waylaying orcs in the camp really for no reason. How disappointing. Did I say Finwë instead of Fëanor again? I'm sorry. Cúrú Finwë, which was his original name. That is, the name his dad gave him. Anyway. Okay. Fëanor. Sorry. was the first and second generation elves. So combining these two, again, totally proves that at least at that time, Tolkien was asserting that Círdan, although he does not like write that sentence. He doesn't say Círdan the shipwright awoke by the shores of Cuiviénen. He is stating that explicitly. And this is extremely important because Círdan the shipwright was a Lord of the Rings invention. Like Galadriel, Círdan the shipwright is invented during the course of the writing of the Lord of the Rings. He's not in the Silmarillion stuff prior to that. So yeah, he's fires to put out. Great. So he's a lord of, so that this, the fact that he not only wrote this but wrote this at this point shows that when Tolkien wrote the Grey Havens chapter of the Lord of the Rings, that he definitely was imagining that Círdan the shipwright awoke by the shores of Cuiviénen. Like, that's the chronology of those things makes that very clear. So I just wanted to go back and say I came across some evidence that I had forgotten about. That is the dating in the Annals of Aman and the reference to at that point, which is again obviously an evolving story still, but about the death of Feanor's mom, Finwë's wife. Goodness, what an odd verbal tick for me to get into today, to be continuing to say Finwë's name when I mean Feanor. Anyway, those two things combined clearly do show it. So, okay. Let's see. Let me do another one. Let's see. Bill Stickers, you just asked a war question. Who made the prophecy that someone called Elessar would come get the stone also called Elessar? Okay. This is before the time he says that there were only 144 elves at Cuiviénen and Ethelad. That is later. I believe. So Tolkien went back and did a lot more sort of like world building stuff in his later days. So all of the details that we are given later on, like the exact number of years that it takes an elf to grow to adulthood, which I think somebody had asked that a long time ago. I'm not sure if I ever answered that. 50 is the answer there, by the way. We were talking about this in some film last night when we were trying to decide how old an elf would need to be in order to be a moody, pimply teenager. Like, what is the elf equivalent of, like, 16, 17? And we decided, like, probably 30, 35 or so. Okay. Hooray! I've avenged the Orcs, but I still have to put out a bunch of fires. Okay. Now I can avoid the Orcs instead of seeking them while I put out fires. Ha! I put out the fire while you were attacking me. Doesn't that make you feel inadequate? As well as half-dressed? Anyway, so yeah, so a lot of those details, even things, yeah, I guess so. A lot of those details were worked out during one of the later periods of Tolkien's life, not during this time when he was still like trying to finish the Silmarillion, as he was immediately after writing the Lord of the Rings. By the way, I'm not trying to, like, I the Mythgard Academies, those are free classes, so I'm not just like trying to, like, it's not just self-promotion or something, but I really recommend the Morgoth's Ring discussion if you've never read Morgoth's Ring, and it's a lot of it is really dry and fairly dense. Morgoth's Ring, especially the first 2/3 of it. So it's kind of more fun, and I think more. I think a lot of people get more out of it when we sort of read and talk through it together. Haven't we? Sorry, I missed the number 6. Okay, we're still good. Oops, missed some burnings back in the other direction. Wait a second. Hang on. Wait. Okay, actually, since I'm over here, let me look for that mysterious voice. Hey, I've come to the eaves. Look at it, it's the sky. How about that? Okay. Anyhow, so but the Morgoth's Ring discussion, the first class has been. Unfortunately, I had a last minute strange conflict this week, so I had to cancel this week's class. We'll postpone. We'll do it next week. Last week the first class is posted, and it's Wisewood. No, Baldbark. Anyway, so in the first class, what we were talking about, what I think we learn most. If you've ever wondered why didn't Tolkien ever finish the Silmarillion, right? What stopped him finishing the Silmarillion? Why was it so hard? I mean, like, he had all that time. I mean, he finished the Lord of the Rings. Clearly, after the success of the Lord of the Rings, somebody would have published it, right? Why, since publishing the Silmarillion was Tolkien's life goal from when he was very young and from when he was in his 20s, why is it that he lives 20 years after he publishes almost 20 years after he publishes the Lord of the Rings, and doesn't finish it in time to get it published before his death? And it's still in such a state that Christopher is having to do all this editorial work trying to get together a version of the text that can be published. I think the first parts, the dense parts of Morgoth's Ring, give the answer to that question more clearly than anywhere else in Tolkien's writings. If you really want to get an insight into what were the challenges that Tolkien was facing, can't recommend Morgoth's Ring enough. Again, we're discussing that Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see it on the Signum Twitch channel. There's also a GoToWebinar link to participate more directly in the discussion. Anyway, definitely recommend that if you are interested in that question. Okay, Baldbark. Surprised by the voiceover. Forgot this was the epic quest. A great creature stares down at you with baleful eyes. Then it speaks again. What are these small creatures that come among the trees? So many, room. But Gandalf saw to the elf, the man, and the dwarf. Treebeard has his guests, and others come among the trees. Baldbark was told not to let others disturb the meetings. Room, boom, broom. You are like Treebeard's guests, so small. Room. Okay. Thanks for the information, Baldbark. At least you're awake. That's good news. So, in your timeline, Entmoot is already happening, but I think it's not happening in my timeline yet because I'm still waking up Ents, who would presumably have been awakened by Treebeard. But maybe I'm supplementing. Let's think that. So, somewhere Entmoot is happening, or being called at least, but I am I'm reaching Ents that Treebeard didn't get a chance to get around to and rouse prior to the moot. So every Ent I awaken is an extra. Oh, that's a fire that I already put out, obviously with not very great thoroughness. Okay, all right, here we are. Back into the burning zone. Looking for smoke. Oh, there we go. Right, okay. Sorry, so I was... Right, your question, Bill Stickers. Okay, the LSR. This is another one of those things. So there's a lot about the LSR, the Elfstone, that you can read in Unfinished Tales. Here's one of the threads of Unfinished Tales. I would group the Third Age material in Unfinished Tales into a few categories. Okay, hang on. Getting closer to orc fires. Category number 1. Category number 1 I would define as stories that he like things where Tolkien was going back and saying, okay, I want to figure out what really happened here, right? These are things like the disaster of the Gladden Fields and the battle at the Fords of Isen, right? Where Tolkien referred to all those things, but he never really sort of like worked out exactly how they, like, it's like details of the story that he wanted to dig into more, right? There's another category of things in Unfinished, or like the Hunt for the Ring also in that category. Something that we know happened, but he hadn't really worked through exactly what happened in the light of everything he knew, after he wrote the whole rest of the story. Another category of things is, well, this is basically the stuff on Gandalf and the stuff on Galadriel. These characters are a really, really big deal, and it's possible that people are like not understanding this sufficiently, and I've not, spelled this all out fully. So I'm gonna do that, right? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna explain exactly who Gandalf and Galadriel are and the significance of them. And he's even going to, in my opinion, overstate the case a little bit with regard to both of them, frankly. I think. Oh, there's a Huorn watching me? I didn't realize that. Okay. Watching me from quite a distance. Oh, there he is. Look at him. Got quite a wingspan there. The third category of Unfinished Tales stuff that I would say is, and by the way, Ethelwad, I totally agree with you. When Tolkien says only Gandalf fulfilled his purpose, I call hogwash on that. I would like to represent Radagast the Brown. I would totally take that brief. That's all I'm saying. If Radagast were looking for a lawyer to defend him against defamation, I volunteer. But, okay, the Huorn, right, we have the same goals. Let us form an alliance. Huorn. Okay. Anyway, but the third category of stuff in Unfinished Tales is like things that are involved in the story, right? They get referred to in the Lord of the Rings, or even that form a significant part of the Lord of the Rings, but which Tolkien didn't really fully know the backstory of, but he wanted to fill out the backstory of. The Palantiri are one of the biggest examples here. I would even, I think, put the Druidine, the Woses, in this category. But the Elessar, the Elfstone, the green gem that Aragorn gets from Galadriel is one of the big examples of this, where Tolkien decided that, I mean, this big old green gem that he gets, and which is important because he's called the Elfstone, and it was foretold that he would be called the Elfstone, and he's given the Elfstone. And honestly, Bill Stickers, the reason, like, I think, remember that, like, the line about him being called Elfstone, him being given the name that was foretold to him by his own people, right? And that name is Elessar, Elfstone, and that he's been given this Elfstone by Galadriel. It seems fairly clear that after the fact, Tolkien was like, this is all really significant, clearly, right? Like, this has got to be important. That Elfstone is more than just decorative, right? It has to be more than just decorative. And so I need to explain its backstory, right? What is the significance of that stone? And so he makes a whole story about the significance of that stone and its history, and goes pretty wild in telling that story about how it was probably made in Gondolin and had healing properties and all these other things. Oh, Ginger, am I being attacked? Yeah. Well, Gryfflet is so buff he doesn't even notice when an orc is just attacking him. But anyway, hang on, let me read this. The Huorn bristles with eagerness as you approach. You did not notice it at first, but it has been watching as you stamped out orc fires and slew the orcs who began the burning of the forest. He wishes to join you as you continue punishing the orcs. Hey, you want in on this action? Hey, look, there's one right there. He's been attacking me. Okay, let's see. Oh, I can whistle him? Should I do that? Hey, there he is. All right, so he's not going to start moving, but his... All right, let's see. He's going to... Thought I'd let him help. No? It's not going to help? Who are we attacking now? That guy still on out? No, this other guy? Okay. Alright. Dude, you are so ponderous. I can't even see anything. Quest ring. And now you're going to insist on sitting on top of me. Okay. No, I did calm to my side, so that's fine. Okay. So I've got to complete 3 quests. It would be nice if I knew what the quests were. I assume they're going to be landscape quests. Okay, it's a little disconcerting, man. Okay, can we have a talk about personal space, Mr. Huorn? No, we can't. Okay. So I have an idea. Let's just rampage then. How about that? Let's go into the camp. Oh, here we are. Hang on. Quest ring. Pipe down. Yeah, exactly. Social distancing, tree. Social distancing. Whew. Okay. I can't see myself or my enemies. Wants nothing more than to crush the strong pack of orcs at their encampment. Okay. True. They will stand no... Okay, so that is Orcs and Fangorn. 2, no rest for enemies, and mourning for felled friends. Okay, so the stump here. The stumps of felled trees can be found standing sadly around the White Hand encampment. The Huorn wishes to grieve for his fallen friends. Understandably. Okay. So we're grieving at the stumps. We're slaying orcs. And what's the other one? No rest for enemies. That mean we get to burn their tents or something? Okay, here's a bunch of orcs. Tell you what, you kill them. And no. Okay, you won't do that. Hang on. Where are you going? You're right on top of me all the time, and now you're running way over there when I've got like 5 orcs on my trail? I can't even target the right stupid orcs. Come on. Darn it, this is why I quit. Okay. Good grief. Seriously, orcs. Mr. Huorn, we are not a very coordinated team. I gotta figure this out here. Yeah, you no, get him. There you go. What are you waiting for? See, like, if I could get positional damage, or if I could possibly target the stupid freaking... Okay. Alright. I guess, like, tactical commands are kind of challenging to somebody who only speaks Old Entish anyway. Alright, I guess there's an orc there. Can't really see it because of Mr. Non-social distancing. Okay. Whew. Okay, so we've 2 fell trees. We still haven't triggered the... Oh, there's a tent. No rest for enemies. That sounds like what we're looking for. Tell you what, Huorn, let's be stealthy. This is what we're going to do, Mr. Huorn. If you can let me get outside your bowl for a moment there. We're going to sneak across the camp. We're going to burn the tent, probably. Okay? Okay, we're going to get back at them and burn their stuff, right? But we're going to sneak, so be very quiet. Be very inconspicuous. We're sneaking across the camp. Hey, it's working. He did it. He sneaked. I can't believe that. Not welcome to Seto and Fangorn. Okay, oh look, hey, there's another guy attacking you from behind. Just thought I'd mention it. Okay, this Huorn is doing nothing. I mean, are you completely useless? Are you even damaging him? I'm just gonna see. Well, hang on, I can't see now. Because I'm damaging him, goodness knows. Alright, here we go. No, you're doing okay. You got him. You take him. Take your vengeance, man. There you go. Good. Strong work. Look, you're contributing. Okay. Oh, that's a wonderful plan. I can dismiss him and call him again when it's time to turn in the quests. That is super tempting. Well, no, it's more fun to sneak through a camp with an enormous walking tree following behind you. Don't mind us. No, I'm not clicking on the tree. I'm clicking on the tent. Every time I try to burn the tent, he sticks a branch in the way. Okay, you fight those orcs, because that's what you enjoy, and I'll sneak around and burn tents. See, that's what I call division of labor. Successfully burned the tent, and the 2 orcs standing in front of it didn't notice. Okay. On the one hand, I'm burning tents without drawing the aggro of anyone, which is kind of fun. Oh, and he's still having fun too. Look at that. Look at he's even contributing. But of course, on the other hand, if the purpose of burning the tents is to send a message and nobody notices, then arguably I've not really succeeded in the message sending very much. Oh, hi. Look at that. You guys are really being flattering with your attentions here. Oh, look behind you. My little friend is coming along. Okay, there we go. Strong work there. Okay. A tough little encampment, huh? We did defeat many orcs, you and I, Mr. Walking Tree. Let me just set fire to a couple more tents. There we go. I've burned the tents, and now we just need to mourn your friends. Okay, we're down to the... We're very selective about who... So, this guy, you didn't think much of him, right? So we don't need to mourn him, because he's... I don't want to know, man, what beef there was between you and that tree, such that we're not even mourning his death. Okay. There's another one. Whom else do we... Did you like him? No? No, I didn't like him. Or him. Trying to look for a fallen tree that this guy liked. Okay. I think there's an orc there. I think there's not an orc there anymore. Stump! Darn it! Come on. We can do this. One more. One more fallen tree to mourn. Maybe if I go fast enough, he won't catch up with me. Hang on. I see one. I see one. Got it. And... Oh, darn. Oh, he was right behind me all the way, and now he's not following close enough to help me with this guy. Okay. Okay, there we go. We've mourned. Okay, there you go, Mr. Huorn. Thank you for your timely help. The Huorn is pleased to have assisted you in my revenge. No, no, no. I'm pleased to have assisted you in your revenge, Mr. Huorn. It is a happier tree than it was before your chance encounter. Okay. Phew. All right. Never had a companion. I am happier to lose. All right. No, but that was fun. Seriously, I mean, in goodness, everybody knows I owe it to help walking trees wherever I find them. Okay. Where is Wisewood? He's over here. Not even Sarah Oakhart. She was less inconvenient than that guy. But of course, Sarah Oakhart is in a special category. Wait, oh no! It's not Wisewood. It's the old man with the psychedelic effects. Hey there, old man with psychedelic effects. Didn't I already meet Gandalf the White? I thought you did the big reveal already, dude. Always good to see a friendly face in the wild places of the world. How goes your quest in Fangorn? You are a long way from home. Why do you waste time on the mindless orcs in some ragged old forest when there are more pressing issues at hand? Dude, I'm doing what you told me to. Wake up the Ents and the... Honestly. Your heroic efforts are needed elsewhere in Rohan. Do you not agree? No, you told me to wake up Ents. Think of the elderly... This isn't even the epic. Think of the elderly Theoden king surrounded by disloyal men. Surely you wish to help the king of Rohan? Yes. And to wake up Ents like you told me to. All this man's... Oh, wait a second. Is this the other old man? Is this mysterious old man too? No way. No way. Trying to convince me to leave and stop waking up the Ents. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Come to think of it, I shouldn't be doing this quest that Gandalf gave me. Such wisdom cannot be gainsayed. Yes, Gryfflet, these orcs are not the real threat to Rohan. The king's nephew, Aemir, wishes to harm the king. Oh no, I was afraid of that. You and I are old friends. We sure are. I should trust you? Yes. And go help the king free himself from his nephew's influence, because yes, he's surrounded by evil counselors, like Aemir, who doesn't listen to what he tells him to do. And he goes herring off and leaving the king exposed to danger while he goes fighting inconsequential groups of orcs. Wow. Leave this forest at once. There is nothing for you here. Man, I am so convinced. My logic struggles against my heart, for the man's words seem wrong. No way, man. Are you going to tear your mask off now? You defy me. You are a fool. You could have left this forest alive, Gryfflet, but now you will die. Of this you may be assured. Do your worst. Bring it, Saruman. Oh, that's fantastic. Love that quest. Servant of Saruman. Hope you're better dressed than the other guy. Oh, look at that. Somebody gave you a helmet and shoulder armor. Did the other guy lose them? Like, so what I'm asking you, big guy, is are you a special friend of Saruman's? Or was the other guy just a complete loser? Like, did he lose his stuff? Was that embarrassing? Oh. Sorry, you're defeated already. I was just going to stun you so we could keep talking, but... Oh, man. Wisewood. You will never believe who I just met. I thought it was Gandalf, and I'm like, why is Gandalf in disguise? Because I've already met Gandalf, but I met Gandalf in disguise before, so it didn't seem like super weird, just a little bit eccentric, and Gandalf is kind of eccentric. But then, of course, I realized that old man in the wood is probably Saruman. Oh, man. Okay. Hey, okay, he spoke. A sound was made, possibly one to indicate approval of your actions. Great. This is a good sign, but also a frustrating one. The Ents are slow to wake. It seems that it will take a lifetime of a mortal man to rouse them as Gandalf wished. Ooh, he's going to give me a cup of coffee? Oh, shoot. Hang on. He's going to attempt. My inventory is so full. Okay, hang on here. Let's see. I think I can ditch the cloak. Yeah, I can ditch that cloak. And I don't think I need this potion. Who needs healing potions, after all? Hooray! It's my cup of coffee. What does that do? Item advancement experience modifier? It's rich, creamy, and robust. Okay. I'll drink it, because then it won't take up space in my inventory. Cheers, Wisewood. Thanks for the coffee. The Ent sleeps once more. I've done all I could at the White Hand encampment, and it is time to press further into the forest to assist more Ents. You should try heading into the northern part of the forest and see what can be seen. Okay. Venture northwest. Yeah, I need to do some serious inventory management. Got lots of crafting stuff I need to distribute among other alts and that kind of thing. Okay, Wisewood, be well. Uh-oh. I'm heading up towards Here There Be Spiders. Okay, time is it? Oops. Oops. Time. Okay. I am running out of time. I think I'm going to find the next Ent. And then I'm going to have to sign off. Yes, that is true. Saruman cannot change his form. He can disguise himself, and he can affect your mind so that you perceive him, sort of in one way or another. But he cannot change his form. He is incarnate in his body. That's why he's killable. Like, you can stab him and he'll die. Oh, no, that's not an Ent. That's a deer. And I know the difference. So, here we go. Okay. Saruman's voice creates perception filters. Something like that. Yeah. Something like that. Okay. Oh, wait, hang on. Right up against this, is that a mountain? Can't really tell. Oh dear, it's all misty and cloudy here. What's oh, a piteous Huorn trapped in dense spider webs. Flashback. Oh, it is time to be free of the curse of the walking tree. A very distressed Huorn trapped in a great tangle of sticky and cruel webs. He stands at the base of a stone stair, and you do not much like the feeling of this place. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to... I'll wait to... I hate to leave the Huorn in distress, but we'll get to him as soon as possible, i.e. next week. Join us next week when Gryfflet redeems himself from his great blunder in the North Farthing of many, many years ago. Okay, so thanks everybody for joining me. I have been talking about doing another Wiggend marathon. I'm still not 100% sure of the date of that. I might be able to do that next weekend. I need to finish consulting the home front here and see about that. But I would like to do another Wiggend marathon. I last left Wiggend after the Battle of Pelennor Field in the encampment of the captains heading out to towards the Black Gate. So I would like to convey Wiggend to the Black Gate. That's my goal. My goal for my marathon will be to get Wiggend to the Black Gate, and so to get through all of those Northern Ithilien adventures there in the epic line, and then Wiggend will be ready to enter Mordor at last. So that that will be a lot of fun. So anyway, thank you for your best wishes to my family and everything. Everything's going well with my family. So, and I hope that you and yours are all safe and well here as we continue this strange time. But it does seem one of the least things that I could do is to help everybody pass some quarantine time by having some extra Lotro marathon to enjoy. So thanks everybody for joining me today. I will hope to have more information on that next week, but I will be back for Gryfflet next week as usual, and we should have a full week of broadcasts this coming week, exploring the Lord of the Rings on Tuesday night, Morgoth's Ring, as I mentioned, on Wednesday night. Not Silmfilm. Silmfilm will be next again 2 weeks from now, the Silmarillion Film Project. So thanks everybody. And I will see you guys soon. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.